There is no such thing as spiritual awakening moment where we say, on that day, moment, I had an awakening. You have named some authors in West who said that at so and so time, so and so place, I got enlightened. There are some in India also who have this kind of stories to tell that they were at a mountain, they were at a Ganga, and they got enlightened. And you say that in one of a retreat where you went, you had a spiritual awakening, something very powerful indeed shifted in my mind, and life and an impact like never before happened. From that moment, I didn't have any bad days, as how I would call them, where I would lay for up to 5 days depressed in a bed. And it would last for maximum 1 day with much lighter intensity. Is there a difference between spiritual awakening and enlightenment? And you have added that it's hard to believe that all the structures and conditioning of the mind can disappear completely in an aha moment. India has a very, very precise clarity given to us by those sages, those masters. When I say master, so perfect masters in path of dhyana, meditation, in path of jnana, the true knowledge, in path of devotion, bhakti. In path of karma, what's the correct action strategy which a human can have? So I think so until and unless one has exposure and understanding to those scriptures. For example, in the state of dhyana, what is dhyana? What are states of dhyana? What will be the levels in the dhyana? What will be experiences in the dhyana? This long list has been covered by Rishi Patanjali. And also in Bhagavad Gita. For example, chapter 6, then chapter 13, then chapter 4. It has all those beautiful verses where it is giving the details about. And then there are certain things which are orally transmitted by the master to the disciples. It's not part of the scripture or the books. So I would suggest that you should go through at least 2 major scriptures of Vedanta. One is the Bhagavad Gita, and the scripture on yoga is the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Now, Patanjali Yoga Sutra is not talking about the asana detailing. That goes in other scriptures. This is talking all just about the mind and the breath and the prana and the states of mind which one may, the various stages which an aspirant will experience. So when you say an awakening, that awakening can happen for so many other stuff, so many other things. For example, the clarity of the mind may happen in a second, and it's very much possible. I have seen and experienced these things happening in the individuals. Like they had nothing to do with satsang or a guru, and they saw one and they heard first time, and in instant everything changed. I had people who were alcoholics, and when I was talking about that this human body is the truest temple, if in any Hindu temple you are not allowed to take any intoxicant or cigarette or tobacco in any form, then how can you take tobacco or smoke or alcohol in this temple? This human body is the truest temple. Other temples are man-made. This is temple made by the divinity itself. So it's much more purer. Because of our misunderstandings and possessiveness and seeing the body as me, the identification which you have, and naturally the intrinsic urges, reflexes which are happening in the body, and all the joy or the pleasure which one has through the sensual indulgence, that makes it a very watertight case of that this body is me. I heard something, I went to rock music, I went to see a show, a dance show, a circus, a drama. I went to a restaurant and ate this food. I bought a French perfume and it was amazing. I bought a Chinese silk and it was amazing. So all the five senses, wherever and through whatever object, it gets the satisfaction or the pleasure is there or a very fleeting happiness is there. That kind of makes this identification to the body more stronger. The day the birth happened, the day this I am came in the mind, I am, in the baby. And the day the baby recognized the people around and the milk and the food and the animals and the birds and everything. So recognition of everything apart from himself or herself is happening. First it happened with his or her body, that this is me. This is me and they are mine. So very soon the baby learns this language of world. My name is this. This is my toy. You are my mama. You are my papa. You cannot love any other. Children get envious, jealous, and they can sometimes beat their sibling. They don't like. They can't share. The possessiveness just grows everywhere. So the possibility of meeting an awakened person, a guru, meeting a great master, and it's possible that in one meeting, in one darshan, the mind goes into a catapult and the possessiveness or the mindness or the security which one was feeling with the family just changes into, and the guru becomes the love of the life. The knowledge plus beauty and the enigma of guru is something which can just grab the mind, possess the mind. Now, in that one moment, the unbelievable happens. And we have beautiful stories of in life of Buddha, we have stories in life of Sri Krishna, we have stories of Sri Rama where absolute novice, a tribal and absolute uneducated simpleton met them, or a dacoit or a thief or a prostitute met them, and in one meeting they changed. So much so, this can be called a spiritual awakening. Now, enlightenment is a very, I would say, word which is creating a lot of confusions. Enlightenment is not a part of our vocabulary as such. In Sanskrit, there is no such word, enlightenment. We have a word, realization of true self, Atma Bodh. We have word of Paramatma Bodh, realizing God. But we don't have a word like enlightenment in Sanskrit or Hindi or any regional language. This is a very, I would say, European concept. As such, if you go into an Oxford dictionary and look for the meaning of enlightenment, then it says getting to know about something is enlightenment. Now that can be about how to cook or how to bake a cake or how to make a dress or how to drive a sports car, or it can be anything, a knowledge which makes you compatible enough and competent enough with that device, with that gadget, with that thing, with that hobby. That's called enlightenment. So somebody is teaching how to run a business, how to be a millionaire. And if somebody has done these days very expensive courses are available. And those who do it, they say, oh, now I am enlightened about how to make $1 million. But in our Bharat philosophy, we don't have such word. We have, now in yoga and in Gyan, there are some differences. For example, in yoga, there is a state called Samadhi, the total absorption. The Samadhi is of again 5 types. So when a Samadhi is happening, that total absorption is happening, that can be, of course, said that so and so day I was sitting and then the Samadhi happened. Sure, time can be noted. Maybe not precisely, but say if I sat like 6 p.m. and then I woke up, I opened my eyes like at 10 or 12 p.m., I can say that 6 p.m. I sat and I had this experience. But a samadhi or the total absorption is happening in the periphery of the mind. Mind it. It's an unbelievable, beautiful experience. But from Vedanta point of view, it's not a very great height. Actually, it is a condition which one needs to fulfill before one goes to a Jnani Guru. Or if you have met a Jnani Guru, you have to work that your mind experiences nirvichar, nirvikalp, savitark, nirvitark. There are types of samadhis, there are different states which can occur in the mind. That can be pinpointed for sure. But if somebody says that 108 Upanishads are there, 108 Upanishads. Not even one single Upanishad, they say that at this time, at this hour, at this, number one, we don't have word enlightened. But there is this thing that as the conversation, like in that particular scripture, say if it is 47 shlokas, verses are there, or there are 254 verses, some Upanishads are very large in size. So there might be a verse coming which says that then the disciple was in a state of silence and quietude, and all the questions got answered. He bowed to the master and left the ashram. There is no announcements happening. There is one announcement in Gita where Arjuna says, Nashto moha smriti labdhva. My all attachments have been destroyed. And I have regained the memory and the knowledge of my true self. He says that. Because he's asking question and Sri Krishna is answering and he's asking question and this is going on and on and on. But at this point, Arjuna says, now there is no question left. Now my all attachment, because his dilemma started because of his attachment to his relatives, against whom he is standing in the battlefield to fight against and kill them. And he said, how can I kill my own relatives? My teachers are there. My grandfather is there. How can I kill them? My uncles are there. My cousins are there. Yes, they were very notoriously bad people, but I cannot kill them. His attachment brought the dilemma. And then he sought answers from Sri Krishna and said, I am your disciple. I take you as my guru. Please guide me what to do. And then Sri Krishna answered. So it's like a dialogue happening. Arjuna is asking, Krishna is answering. Asking, answering. Question, answer. And at one point, finally, he says, my attachment has been destroyed. Now I surrender to you. Whatever you will order, I'll do that. No qualms at all. No hesitations at all. Now I have understood, because in all these Q's and A's, it was like a wide variety of questions which happened. Like, what is devotion? What is yoga? What is Samadhi? What is the status of a realized person? Who is a Mahatma? Who is a Guru? What is this universe? How did this happen? What is this nature? How did this happen? So many questions. And you really wonder, what kind of people were they, where the armies are standing to wage the war with their weapons, and their roaring horses are there, and the conches have been blown already, and the drums have been beaten, the war cries have been given, and here they are asking question about what's that, what's this, and what's that, and what's this. But it seems to be, as this conversation was happening, everybody was waiting. It's a very strange scenario. It's a very fantastically beautiful scenario. In a way, Sri Krishna and Arjuna's, this conversation is saying everything else can wait, but this cannot. Realizing truth is more important than winning wars, or seeking revenges, or teaching lesson to a crooked, wicked person. Everything can wait. This cannot. So this beautiful dialogue is happening. So we have this word called Atmabodh, Tattvabodh, realizing the essence, realizing the true self, realizing the divinity. We have these words in our enlightenment is not. Although I think so, this might have been used even for me, explaining who I am. Maybe somebody must have written this too. But in my understanding, this is maybe easier for Westerners to understand. Okay. So, but it's a very odd thing. It's something in Sanskrit we call with the word swa samvedana. You alone know it, whether you have realized self or not. And it's very much possible that you can make a false claim that I have realized, I am enlightened. Who will stop you? Nobody. Why should anybody stop you? Nobody should stop anybody. And it's nothing wrong over there as such. But still I feel that only you alone would know when all your doubts and questions and queries have just dropped. And you have realized the truth of your being, the essence of your being. There are some signs, although signs are that the mind now won't rush towards the world because the world is an illusion now. The mind won't be obsessed about the body, mind and senses because the realization has happened that this is not me. And the world won't be a friendly or a bad place because it doesn't even exist. It's just projection of my mind. So let it be. So the non-duality exists in the intellect of this person, and all dualities and questions and confusions and conflicts are all gone. Meaning, once you have realized the truth, there is no way that you can go back to that same being idiot again, being a fool again. No way. We give an example that if somebody is churning curd, yogurt, then when you are whisking it, a time will come when the butter will separate from the curd. So what is left is buttermilk, and what you see the floating is the butter, and nicely If you collect all the butter and create a ball, and then maybe you leave it in the same jug or pot, now the butter cannot mix back into the curd and become one with the curd. Once the separation has happened, it has happened for final. There is no way it will go back into that previous form of being a yogurt, being a curd. So, from this body, senses, mind, intellect constituent, once the realization has happened, understanding has happened, it's like separation of the butter from the yogurt. No way it will go back. There is no way then to be unawakened again once you are awakened. So, when we say awakened, it means there is a big shift which happens at the level of intellect, at the level of the mind. Although mind and intellect is not me, they are my accessories. It's just my accessories which I use to function, interact with the world. But for sure, when somebody begins on the path of yoga or meditation with whatever method, doesn't matter, but whenever it begins, there are going to be points of stages or states which might occur where you may experience variety of experiences. Mind going silent, or in your closed eyes you are seeing lights and streaks of light, or you may begin to hear sound within. There is no sound outside and yet you are hearing it. It's possible that your body can go into a state where you want to open your eyes and yet you can't. And you don't even actually want because you are so enjoying this state. Possible. But there is also possibility that the mind can go into a sleep mode, which we call, the person might think on getting up, oh, I was in a deep meditation, whereas the person was sleeping while sitting. So these are called the hindrances on the path of yoga. But still, the spiritual awakenings are, I would say, blessings which can come. And sometimes it doesn't need an individual around whom this might happen. It might just happen on its own. You know, the aha moment, as you have written, the aha moment can sometimes happen to a musician, to sometimes a dancer, to a painter, to a singer. Have gone so engrossed in their singing. And something changes. The gestalt shift is happening. And that's the aha moment for them. It has also happened to some athletes, those who went for marathons. Like they are running a 25K. And a point comes, you are all well trained and you are running and you are enjoying your run. And a point comes where, as if the body is running on an automated mode and as if I am not the body and I'm watching the body is running. This has been experience of some sports person. That it was such a joyous and it was like a rush of dopamine happening, the happy hormone happening. And person is running. A person is doing whatever sport or game. So that rush of dopamine, that rush of the excitement which comes in, creates a kind of shift in the mind. So wherever there is 100% concentration and attention given, the possibility of this experience is possible. And no wonder India is a country where when you see the temples, especially in Odisha, South India, Karnataka, Kerala, when you see these temples, the intricate detailings, the loftiest heights, and they have been standing there for 1,000 years. And there is no steel in that. What a wonderful high-tech, should I say, without any machinery, they could create such, the mind gets boggled while seeing that. How did they make this? For example, the caves in Aurangabad, the Ajanta Ellora caves. It's mind-boggling. The old caves are like made, it's a mountain of granite, and this whole mountain was cut manually with chisel and hammer. And it took some 150 years almost. Three kings funded it. Three kings in their tenure kept on funding it. And this whole temple has been carved upside down. First the dome was created, then the roof, then the pillars. And the walls has such murals. It's all granite, hardest stone. No machine, no electricity. And almost 3 generations of the sculptors gave their time and life to create that. How peaceful, how strong physically, how strong imagination, that what they had read in Puranas, they could create that image of Shiva and Parvati in stone. It's mind-boggling. And India is like I would say that it's a whole country is like a treasure. It's an ancient country and such a beautiful treasures, such poets, such dancers, such music, such the degree of dedication and practice that one person would practice 8 to 10 hours per day to master his Vichitra Veena or Murdangam or a tabla or a flute, a bansuri. 8 hours in a day. They don't need food. They are not, looking for food all the time. Of course, for sustenance, everybody needs to eat, even they. But they are happy in their art. They are happy in their creativity. I have been in Puri and Bhubaneswar, and I saw this place where the statues were being made in stone. So the stone pieces are being carved. So I was talking to the head artist, and he was taking me around, showing me all these beautiful statues. And there on the one side, there were some 4 or 5 sculptors who were busy making a statue. Here we are talking, there was some noise. They never lifted their head even to look who is there. For all those 2 hours, their head is down and their hands are working and the mind is working. Just like a great meditator, so focused. So I can say it definitively that what India has, world doesn't. And this is an ancient civilization, and yet we are living this civilization. It's not that we had a great civilization and now we don't. No, it's not like that. You go Athens, it's just ruins. You go Greece, ruins. You go Rome, ruins. Very ancient places. There is now, they are living a very different genre at the moment. India, we are still living that civilization. The scriptures which were written 50,000 years ago are still being studied. Knowledge is still being given. This ashram is doing this job. Teaching Vedanta, teaching yoga, teaching Vedanga, teaching astrology, teaching Ayurveda, teaching the science of cooking food. It's so beautiful. So one life is not sufficient. And that's why one born in India wants to be born in this Bharat again and again and again and again and again. Because one lifetime is so short. 100,000 verses in Sanskrit of the 4 Vedas. To understand the language, you need at least 12 years, minimum 6 years, to totally understand the grammar and the structure of Panini and Lagu Comedy and all these beautiful grammarian books. Yoga, Vedanta, Bhakti, so many. So, one should be very, very clear about this, that only very fortunate ones would get to hear or feel all about this, what I'm talking about. And our country doesn't talk about just believe, what we are saying, believe. No. All scriptures are conversations, dialogues happening in between master and disciple. All scriptures are like that. They are not making any decrees. You have to follow, you have to do it. If you don't do, you'll go to hell. No. It allows us to question. It allows to first have a very beautiful, loving relationship with the master, and then, like a lover opens up their heart to one another, similarly, the seeker, the disciple opens up the heart. And the guru opens up the heart. So it's a most wonderful journey. And very beautiful and very miraculous. In every aspirant, if you talk to aspirant, they have a story to tell. They have a story. I was just now in Surat, Gujarat. I met some people who said, we heard you in 1998. I said, okay. Then someone, I heard you 21 years ago. It's very interesting. A young man came to see me, and he said that 11 years ago, I heard one of your album, the music album. He said, I just went bonkers. I would just cry and cry. It's so good, enjoying it, but I'm crying. And my girlfriend would wonder, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying? I said, I can't tell you, I'm getting overwhelmed every time. And then he said that my wife is pregnant, please bless her. And they had never been here in this ashram, never met me before, and it's first time. I said, it's not you who have come here, it's this baby in the womb who has actually pushed you to come here. And see how the game is getting played. I go Surat to there, and they were just like 500 meters away from the venue. And they said, please come to our house. I never hesitated. I never do like that. I said, okay. Everybody was surprised. How come there are people who are so dedicated and good volunteers, and you are going to this new couple? I said, okay, let's go. I go there to the house, and his father, he says, I have been listening to you since last 22 years. For 4 years, he had left India, went to England. He said then, for 3 years, I think so, 2 years, kind of, I was not on the television. My program started in, it was the longest running program on a television, on Sony television. We had a beautiful relationship with them. Then other channels came in, and So he said, I had been listening to you, but I couldn't ever meet. I was so, it's like okay, surprise, I'm thinking I'm meeting them first time, but for them, they know me from last 22 years, but still could never meet me in person. The joy which they were exhuming, the flowers, the decoration, this and that, and beautiful. For them, and when I see this, beautiful individuals, it makes me joyful too. That's what my job is. To give joy, see people joyous, and be joyous with their joy. So learning, growing, this. So awakening can happen anytime, but for the realization of the self, I believe still it's very personal, very intimate. And it's like a process in a way, and it also can happen just like that. But when it happens just like that, there had been some years or months of the preparations which have gone in. And then, see, our rishis have never made such claims. We have a long list of sages and rishis and seers and gurus in India. None has claimed like this. Yeah, they have spoken about, I had Samadhi there, or I was in Samadhi. Yes, they have done that. But not this kind of proclamation. So it seems to me little foreign to me also. But it indeed, this spirituality or this path of dharma, should I better use the word dharma, dharma is a beautiful path. Learning, meditating, praying, singing bhajan, kirtan, learning logically about so many subjects through Upanishad and Gita and Veda. It's the most beautiful thing.